Jason Gilbo here at JGilbo11, taking a look at FanDuel quarterbacks for Week 9. Breaking over Spencer Limbach's article here. You can follow him on Twitter at Spencer_JL. And he looked at cash games and GPPs, and obviously Aaron Rodgers comes in as the top option, 9,100, taking on a Colts defense that's banged up. Vontae Davis did practice, but obviously still questionable for this week. But overall, still a lackluster secondary to really go after. So Aaron Rodgers, safe play, I think, with all the value in this slate at running back and also wide receiver. And you can even pair some of them up with Rodgers, like a Devontae Adams, who's not that expensive, or Ty Montgomery, who's looking more likely to play. Rodgers comes in as kind of the top option there by default. So he lists him at number 1, and he also looks at Andrew Luck at number 2 for an $1,100 discount. You know, as he pointed out, Luck looked bad last week, but still put up 19 fantasy points. Gets a Green Bay secondary that is a bit banged up, and he talks about the points per dollar play behind Aaron Rodgers if you need that extra $1,100. So Andrew Luck's looking like he's in a good spot. Now the team total isn't as juicy as it is. You know, Green Bay's at 30.5, but still relatively safe in terms of 3 touchdowns there, and could be more. So looking at that one is a pretty safe option. I think that's going to be a lot of the ways people go this week because of that high total. It's the highest total on the board. So GPP quarterbacks, he's looking at Dak Prescott and 7,600 against the Browns. He also talks about, you know, the game script setting up for Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, you know, both are great spots this week. Cleveland ranks 29th in the pass rank, really high total. There could be enough for both to go around, but obviously you're kind of shifting attention to hoping that Prescott can get that rushing touchdown. You know, also look at him and just kind of hoping, you know, maybe he does get inside the red zone and it does go Prescott's way instead of Elliott's this week. You know, that's a possible swerve to make. So Prescott at that price, I think he's a safe option. You know, Spencer talks about being borderline cash game play this week, you know, if you're looking to go that route and save some cash. Another one here, Cam Newton, 8,100. And on the road against the Rams, he talks about the Rams defense being pretty stingy, looking for Newton to pick up a lot of the slack in that department. Obviously, this Rams defense has been, you know, up and down this year, but it has been fairly solid for the most point. And he talks about, you know, really a low ownership, and I tend to agree with that because, you know, Newton really hasn't played the best this year. It's been a completely different, you know, offense that we saw from last year. 8,100, still a price tag that is up there for Cam Newton. There is some rushing upside always with him, so kind of a boomer bust GPP play for me. And I think I agree with Spencer in terms of just being a low ownership, high risk type play this week. So in terms of value quarterback, he has Colin Kaepernick listed 7,200. Opponent pass rank 23, a reasonably high total for San Francisco, and with Carlos Hyde being iffy for this week, that pushes, you know, maybe a little bit more focus on the passing game. And I like Colin Kaepernick this week. I think he's a guy who you can look at in terms of a pretty safe floor just because this defense is so much bad. He has him listed as a tournament value for me. We differ a little bit on that aspect, but I think Kaepernick is going to be a safe guy to kind of go about this week if you want to spend up at other positions. You look at really what he's done. He's been fairly safe in his first 2 starts. The rushing numbers have been there, about 15 fantasy points just solely on rushing alone. So he's kind of given us that rushing floor, and I think, you know, with this case being at home against the Saints, you can look at him for a reasonable upside play if he gets that rushing touchdown. So I like Kaepernick this week. I think he's a safe option. I know Spencer did talk about some possible values up here, Nick Foles, Josh McCown, and obviously in consideration to Colin Kaepernick. So he's looking at them just more being tournament plays this week, and looking to kind of really pay up and use Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers, and that's definitely where I'm going to be headed as well. So if you want to check out Spencer's article, you can head on over to dailyfantasycafe.com. This is up there in the NFL section, and also be sure to check out our cheat sheets for this week and our lineup optimizer, which is rolling hot right now. So definitely be giving that a look, and we'll catch you in week 10.